Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're here for clean, professional automotive insights that cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters, you're in the right place. Today, we're covering a topic that isn't just an industry shift, it's a turning point. As emissions laws tighten, cities get denser, and governments push toward electrification, many SUVs that once dominated the roads are now facing bans, restrictions, or complete phase-outs starting in 2026. This isn't hype. This isn't fear-mongering. These are confirmed regulatory frameworks rolling out across Europe, the UK, and regions in North America and Asia. And while automakers continue to innovate with hybrids and EVs, several big-name SUVs, especially older diesel and large-displacement petrol models, simply cannot meet the next wave of emission, weight, and noise standards. In this extended video, we're going to explore 6 major SUVs that will be heavily restricted or banned from entering certain zones in 2026. We'll break down why they're affected, how these bans will work, and what this means for buyers planning their next big family vehicle. If you appreciate cinematic, fact-driven breakdowns that respect your time and go deeper than surface-level analysis, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started. 1. Land Rover Range Rover, older V8 models. The Range Rover is a symbol of luxury, prestige, and global capability. But the older V8 versions, especially those built before 2020, are becoming some of the most restricted luxury vehicles in the world. These variants run large-displacement gasoline or diesel engines that can't meet the new Euro 7 benchmarks or local city-level requirements. Cities like Paris, Milan, Madrid, and parts of London already classify them as high-pollution vehicles. And as these zones convert to full zero-emission sectors in 2026, these models will effectively be banned from driving within city limits. Even suburban areas are implementing rules tied to weight and CO2 output, and older Range Rovers fail both criteria. This doesn't affect newer electrified and mild hybrid Range Rovers. Those remain compliant. But the older V8s, their access is shrinking dramatically. For owners, resale values are expected to fall sharply in emissions-sensitive markets, pushing many toward hybrid or EV replacements. 2. Toyota Land Cruiser, pre-hybrid diesel variants. The Toyota Land Cruiser is one of the most durable SUVs ever made. But its older diesel variants are a major target for emissions legislation. Models from the 1990s, 2000s, and even early 2000s run diesel engines that exceed 2026 nitrogen oxide and particulate limits by massive margins. European cities already restrict older diesels, but the 2026 phase brings complete exclusion from many urban zones. Amsterdam, Brussels, Paris, and Barcelona have confirmed that these vehicles will no longer be able to enter modern low-emission districts. In the UK, the expansion of clean air zones will push older Land Cruisers out of daily operation in major cities. The irony? These are some of the toughest, longest-lasting vehicles ever made, but the emission system they rely on simply doesn't fit the future regulatory landscape. Toyota is already pivoting toward hybrid and electrified off-road platforms, signaling the end of the old-school diesel era. 3. Mercedes-Benz G-Class, non-hybrid V8 models. The G-Class is an icon, a rolling brick of engineering excellence. But its classic V8 models, especially pre-2025 versions, are among the heaviest, thirstiest SUVs on the road. And weight plays a bigger role than most people realize. Several European cities, including Paris and Lyon, have introduced weight-based parking fees and road restrictions, directly targeting massive SUVs like the G-Wagon. Combined with upcoming Euro 7 standards, many older G-Class models will fall short of both emissions and noise regulations. Mercedes sees the direction this is heading, which is why they are pushing hard toward electrifying the G-Class lineup by 2025. But for thousands of current owners, 2026 marks the year their beloved V8 becomes a limited access vehicle, especially in the most populated cities on the planet. 4. Chevrolet Suburban and GMC Yukon XL gasoline V8 models. In North America, the bans are softer, but the phase-out is real. States following California's emissions roadmap are tightening regulations for large V8 SUVs with high displacement and fuel consumption. The Suburban and Yukon XL, with their massive naturally aspirated V8 engines, fall directly into the restricted category. Starting in 2026, new rules will impact fleet registrations, renewal requirements, high pollution corridor access, clean zone restrictions in large metros. These SUVs aren't being outlawed nationwide, but their operational freedom will shrink. Certain cities will implement noise rules, idling limits, and engine-based access restrictions. Expect higher registration fees, stricter smog checks, and reduced access to urban cores. The message is clear. The era of giant V8 American SUVs roaming unrestricted is coming to an end. 5. Jeep Grand Cherokee, older 5.7-liter Hemi models. The Grand Cherokee has evolved dramatically, with plug-in hybrids now taking center stage. But older Hemi-powered versions, especially early 5.7-liter models, are on the chopping block. These engines deliver power, but they also produce emissions far above 2026 standards. Several countries have already announced bans affecting large-displacement gasoline engines, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee Hemi is one of the most commonly affected models due to its popularity and fuel consumption profile. Cities with congestion and pollution rules, including London, Oslo, Stockholm, and Rome, will completely restrict these vehicles from entering their clean air zones. Even in the US, some states are introducing restricted operation districts that will limit when and where these older models can be driven. 6. Nissan Petrol and Infiniti QX80 naturally aspirated V8 models. Few SUVs are as respected as the Nissan Petrol, especially in regions like the Middle East, Africa, and Australia. But globally, especially in Europe and Asia, the massive 5.6-liter V8 is becoming incompatible with tightening emissions laws. These SUVs produce high CO2 emissions, and cities with strict regulations have already listed them as non-compliant. In 2026, they will be blocked from entering several urban zones, and new registration restrictions will apply in countries adopting the full Euro 7 standard. Even Nissan's own roadmap hints at a shift away from V8-powered giants, with electrified petrol successors expected later in the decade. 7. Ford Expedition non-hybrid V6 EcoBoost models. The Ford Expedition has always been one of America's favorite full-size family haulers, powerful, spacious, and built for long-distance comfort. But the older, non-hybrid EcoBoost V6 versions are facing new pressure from emissions and urban clean zone rules. While more efficient than classic V8s, the older EcoBoost setups still produce high CO2 levels, and the Expedition's size pushes it into the heavy vehicle bracket that many cities want to restrict. Beginning in 2026, several urban centers adopting California-style standards will introduce limitations on vehicles that exceed specific weight and emissions categories, and the Expedition is one of them. This doesn't mean it's disappearing from American roads, but its operational freedom in metropolitan areas, especially for daily commuting, will shrink. Ford's push toward hybrid and electric three-row SUVs reflects exactly where the market is heading, and why the older generations will soon feel outdated in the new regulatory landscape. 8. Dodge Durango, 5.7-liter Hemi and 6.4-liter SRT models. The Durango has built a reputation as one of the most powerful, muscular SUVs in the segment. But that strength comes with a cost: extremely high emissions and some of the highest fuel consumption numbers in its class. European and Asian regulators have already categorized these models as non-compliant, and US states, following 2026 emissions upgrades, will make it harder to register or daily drive the older Hemi and SRT versions in dense areas. The Durango SRT, with its massive 6.4-liter engine, is specifically targeted under weight and displacement-based restrictions rolling out in 2026. While enthusiasts love these models, cities view them as noisy, heavy, and environmentally inefficient. Dodge's upcoming electric muscle SUV platform is the brand's answer to these tightening rules, signaling the end of the classic Hemi-powered Durango era. 9. Mitsubishi Pajero or Montero, final diesel generations. The Pajero, also known as the Montero, is an off-road legend, but its final diesel-powered generations are deeply incompatible with the emission standards taking effect in 2026. Many European nations have already announced complete bans on older diesel SUVs in city centers, and the Pajero ranks among the first to be phased out due to its high particulate and NOx output. Countries like Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands are tightening regulations further in 2026, making these diesel models effectively impossible to use in urban zones. Even outside Europe, Asian and Middle Eastern markets are shifting away from diesel-heavy platforms, pushing Mitsubishi to retire the Pajero completely. The model isn't being replaced, not because it lacks popularity, but because the future regulatory environment simply has no space left for traditional diesel off-roaders of this size. Why 2026 is a turning point. The SUVs facing bans in 2026 are not bad vehicles. Many are icons. They command respect because they were built for durability, capability, and presence. But regulations don't care about legacy. They care about emissions, weight, noise, and environmental impact. 2026 marks the year when cities stop encouraging drivers to upgrade later and begin enforcing the rules directly. Whether through high entry fees, outright bans, or limited access districts, the message is clear. The future belongs to lighter, cleaner, electrified SUVs. If you're planning to buy a used SUV, choose a model with hybrid or EV architecture. If you already own a large V8 SUV, stay informed about your city's policies. These bans won't just affect where you can drive. They will impact resale value, insurance, and long-term ownership costs. The smart buyer is no longer just looking at horsepower, luxury, or brand prestige. They're looking at compliance, future-proofing, and real-world usability. Let me know in the comments. Which SUV on this list surprised you? And do you think these bans are reasonable or overreaching? Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.